Marcus Chen felt the cold metal floor against his back. Blood pooled around him, dark red, mixing with the strange green liquid that leaked from broken alien pipes. His rifle lay useless beside him, its energy cells drained hours ago. The taste of copper filled his mouth. Kepler Station was dying, just like him. Through the cracked viewport, he could see the Xerion ships hanging in space like metal vultures. Their bioweapons had done their work well. Every human on the station was either dead or dying from the poison they had released into the air system. Marcus felt it burning through his veins, shutting down his organs one by one. He tried to move, but his legs would not obey. The poison had reached his spine. He had maybe an hour left, probably less. Around him, the station groaned as its supports failed. Soon, the whole structure would break apart and drift into the cold darkness. Between stars. Marcus had been a soldier for 12 years. He had seen friends die on a dozen different worlds. But this felt different. This was not just his death, or even the death of his unit. This was the end of humanity's last real foothold in the Vega system. When Kepler Station fell, humans would be pushed back to their home system, trapped like animals in a cage. The Xerions were smart. They did not just want to kill humans quickly. They wanted to watch them suffer first. Their bioweapons were designed to cause slow, painful death. It was their way of sending a message to any species that might think about resisting their empire. A high sound made Marcus turn his head. Something moved in the debris near the main corridor. He reached for his sidearm, then remembered it was empty too. His hand fell back to the floor, but the figure that crawled from the wreckage was not Xerion. It was tall and pale, with silver hair that caught the emergency lighting. Marcus recognized the armor markings even through the damage. Sanguinari. One of the vampire-like aliens that had chosen to fight alongside humans in this war. The creature was clearly dead. A massive wound opened its chest, showing organs that looked nothing like human ones. But what caught Marcus's attention was not the wound. It was the blood. Sanguinari blood did not look like human blood. It glowed with a soft purple light, like liquid starlight. Even now, with the alien dead for who knew how long, the blood in its veins still pulsed with that strange glow. Marcus had heard stories about that blood. Soldiers talked about it in quiet voices around campfires. They said sanguinari blood could heal anything. Poison, radiation, wounds that should kill you. But they also said it was deadly to most species. Humans who tried to drink it usually died in horrible ways, their bodies rejecting the alien chemicals. Only a few species in the galaxy could handle sanguinari blood, and even they rarely survived the process. Marcus stared at the dead alien. He could feel the poison spreading through his chest now. His breathing was getting harder. Soon, his heart would stop. The Xerions would find his body when they came to loot the station. They would probably put his head on a spike as a warning to other humans, or he could try something crazy. Marcus used his elbows to drag himself toward the sanguinari corpse. Every movement sent fire through his nerves. The alien poison was designed to keep its victims conscious until the very end. The Xerions wanted their enemies to feel every second of their death. It took him 10 minutes to cross 5 meters of floor. By the time he reached the alien warrior, his vision was starting to blur. He pulled out his combat knife, one of the few pieces of equipment that did not need power cells. The sanguinari's arm was still intact. Marcus cut into the pale skin, surprised at how tough it was. The knife barely went through, but when it did, the glowing blood flowed out like liquid light. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Marcus knew this was probably suicide. The stories all agreed that human bodies could not handle sanguinari blood. But dying from alien vampire blood had to be better than dying from Xerion poison. At least it would be quick. He held the alien's arm over his mouth and let the purple blood drip onto his tongue. It tasted like metal and electricity, like licking a battery. His throat burned as he swallowed. Then he bit into the wound and drank deeply. The effect was immediate. Fire raced through his body, but not the slow burn of the poison. This was different. It felt like every cell in his body was waking up after a long sleep. The pain from his wounds faded. His vision cleared, but something else was happening too. Marcus could feel the sanguinary blood mixing with his own, changing him from the inside. His heart began to beat faster, then slower, then settled into a rhythm he had never felt before. His muscles felt stronger. His senses became sharper that he could hear things he had never noticed before. The hum of the station's failing power systems. The whisper of air through damaged vents. And something else. Something that made him freeze. Footsteps. Multiple sets of them moving through the station corridors. Heavy boots on metal floors? The Xerions had sent boarding parties to finish the job. Marcus stood up, surprised that his legs worked perfectly. Better than perfectly. He felt like he could run for hours without getting tired. The poison was completely gone from his system. In its place was something new, something that made him feel more alive than he had ever felt before. But he was still Marcus Chun, still human. The alien blood had not changed his mind or his memories. He was just more. The footsteps were getting closer. Marcus picked up his rifle and checked the power cell. Still dead. But that did not matter anymore. He could feel the Xerion soldiers through the station walls. Their heartbeats called to him like drums in the distance. He knew exactly where they were and how many of them there were. 12 enemies. All armed with energy weapons and bio-armor. A week ago, that would have been impossible odds for one human soldier. Marcus Chen smiled and started walking toward them. He had work to do. Marcus moved through the station corridors like a ghost. His boots made no sound on the metal floors. Every step felt perfect, balanced. He could sense the 12 Xerion soldiers spreading through the Padillo station like he was looking at a map inside his head. The first group was checking the medical bay. 3 soldiers in heavy armor, their weapons ready. Marcus could hear their breathing, smell the fierce sweat under their biosuits. Strange. He had never been able to smell things like that before. He pressed against the wall beside the medical bay entrance. The lead soldier came through the doorway, his weapon sweeping the corridor. Marcus grabbed the alien's helmet with both hands and twisted. The neck broke with a wet snap. The other 2 soldiers spun toward the sound, but Marcus was already moving. His fist went through the second alien's chest plate like it was made of paper. The third soldier got his weapon up, but Marcus was faster. He caught the energy rifle and crushed it in his hands. The alien stared at him with 4 yellow eyes. Marcus had seen Xerions before, but never this close. They looked like insects that had learned to walk upright. Their faces had no expressions humans could read. Impossible, the alien said in its clicking voice. You were dead. The bioweapon killed all humans. Marcus smiled. I got better. He snapped the alien's neck before it could call for help. 3 down, 9 to go. But something was wrong. Marcus looked down at his hands. They were covered in alien blood, but he felt no disgust. Instead, he felt hungry. Not for food, but for something else. Something he could sense flowing through the dead Xerions. Life force. That was what the sanguinary called it. The energy that kept living things alive. Marcus could see it now, like heat patterns on an infrared scope. The dying alien still had wisps of it floating from its body. Without thinking, Marcus reached out and pulled that energy into himself. The effect was like drinking pure electricity. He felt stronger, faster. His senses became even sharper. And the hunger went away, replaced by a feeling of perfect satisfaction. This was how Sangari fed. Not just on blood, but on the life energy inside blood. And somehow, Marcus could do it too. He moved to the next group. 4 soldiers in the main hangar, setting charges to blow up the human ships. Marcus dropped through a maintenance hatch in the ceiling, landing silently behind them. These ones were ready for trouble. They moved like trained soldiers, watching each other's backs. But they were not ready for what Marcus had become. He moved faster than their eyes could follow. The first soldier died before he knew Marcus was there. The second got off one shot that should have taken Marcus's head off. Instead, the energy beam passed through empty air. Marcus was already beside him, his hand closing on the alien's throat. The third and fourth soldiers opened fire together. Energy beams filled the air where Marcus had been standing. But he was above them now, clinging to the hangar ceiling like some impossible spider. He dropped down between them, and they died without making a sound. Marcus drained their life force too. Each time, he felt himself getting stronger. But he was still human inside. Still Marcus Chun from Detroit, who had joined the army to see the galaxy, and ended up fighting for humanity's survival. The next group was in the command center. 2 soldiers trying to download the station's navigation data. Marcus came through the ventilation system this time. He had learned that he could squeeze through spaces that should have been too small for him. The Xerions never saw him coming. One moment they were working at their computers. The next they were dead. Marcus absorbed their life force and moved on. He was starting to understand what had happened to him. The sanguinary blood had not just healed his wounds. It had changed his entire biology, made him into something new. Something that was still human, but more than human. The last 3 soldiers were together near the station's reactor core. They had given up on their mission and were trying to call for evacuation. Marcus could hear their radio chatter as he approached. They were afraid. Good. Base, this is Team 7, one of them was saying. Something is wrong here. The humans should all be dead, but something is killing our people. Describe the threat, came the reply from their ship. Unknown. We found bodies, but no weapons fire. Looks like hand-to-hand combat, but no human could do this kind of damage. Marcus stepped into the reactor chamber. The 3 Xerions spun toward him, weapons raised. One human could, Marcus said. They opened fire. This time, Marcus did not try to dodge. The energy beams hit him center mass, burning through his uniform and scorching his skin. It hurt, but not as much as it should have. And even as the beams hit him, he could feel his body healing. The aliens kept firing until their weapons overheated. Marcus walked toward them through the energy storm, his burned skin already growing back. Impossible, one of them whispered. I keep hearing that word, Marcus said. He grabbed the nearest soldier and lifted him off the ground with one hand. You should learn some new words. He drained all 3 of them at once, pulling their life force into himself like water through a straw. The feeling was incredible. He felt like he could lift the entire station with his bare hands. But something else was happening. As he absorbed their energy, he also absorbed some of their knowledge. Flashes of their memories. Their training. Their fears. They were terrified of him. Not just because he had killed their squad, but because of what he represented. The Xerions had spent centuries conquering other species by understanding their biology and finding ways to destroy them. But they had no understanding of what Marcus had become. Marcus looked at the radio one of the dead soldiers had dropped. He picked it up and spoke into it. This is Sergeant Marcus Chun, Human Defense Force. Your boarding party is dead. All of them. Come down and get them if you want. The silence from the other end lasted for a long moment. Then, human, you will pay for this. We will glass your entire planet. You can try, Marcus said. But first you have to catch me. He crushed the radio in his hand and walked toward the nearest airlock. Outside, the Xerion ships were waiting. Big, powerful vessels that could destroy the station with a single shot. But Marcus was not afraid. He was hungry. And there were a lot more Xerions up there. He had learned something important in the last hour. The sanguinary blood had not made him less human. It had made him more human than ever before. All his best qualities were enhanced. His courage, his determination, his refusal to give up, and his anger at the aliens who wanted to wipe out his species. Marcus Chun opened the airlock and stepped into space, his transformed body adapting instantly to the vacuum. The Xerion ships hung above him like metal fruits waiting to be picked. Time to go to work. Dr. Elena Vasquez stared at the test results for the 100th time. They made no sense. According to every scanner in her lab, Marcus Chun was both human and not human at the same time. "Run the blood work again," she told her assistant. "Doctor, we have run it 12 times. The results are always the same." Elena rubbed her eyes. She had been working for 3 days straight since Marcus returned from Kepler Station. The military had brought him to her research station immediately after his impossible victory over 3 Xerion warships. Single-handedly, in space. Without a ship or even a spacesuit. Marcus sat on the examination table, looking perfectly normal except for his eyes. They glowed with a faint purple light now, like dim stars. He was patient with all the tests, but Elena could tell he was restless. He kept looking toward the windows, toward deep space, like he was listening for something only he could hear. "Tell me again what happened," Elena said. Marcus sighed. "I was dying from Xerion poison. I found a dead sanguinary warrior. I drank its blood. I got better. But that should have killed you. Sanguinary blood is toxic to humans." "I know. I was there." Elena looked at her notes. "Marcus, your DNA has been rewritten. Not damaged, not mutated, rewritten. Like someone took your genetic code and improved it while keeping everything that makes you human. Is that bad?" "I do not know. Nobody has ever seen anything like this before." The door to the lab slid open. Admiral Rodriguez walked in, followed by a figure that made Elena's breath catch. It was a sanguinary elder, one of the ancient vampires who had ruled the galaxy long before humans left Earth. The elder was tall and pale, with silver hair that reached the floor. Its eyes were completely black, like looking into deep space. When it spoke, its voice sounded like wind through a graveyard. "We felt the awakening across the galaxy," the elder said. "A new bloodline has been born." Marcus stood up from the examination table. "You were talking about me?" "Yes, young hybrid. You are something that should not exist. Yet here you are." Admiral Rodriguez stepped forward. "Elder Thane, can you explain what happened to Sergeant Chun?" The sanguinary elder moved closer to Marcus. It studied him like he was a puzzle. "For 10,000 years, we have shared our blood with dying warriors from 100 different species. They all died horribly, or became mindless ghouls. Their bodies could not handle the gift. So why did I survive?" "Because you are human." The elder touched Marcus's forehead with one long finger. "Your species is chaos given form. You adapt to anything. Change is your nature." Elena looked up from her scanner. "His cellular structure is unlike anything I have seen. He has human DNA, but also something else. Something that works with his human genes instead of replacing them." "The blood chose him," Elder Thane said. "It recognized a worthy host." Admiral Rodriguez crossed his arms. "Elder, we need to understand the implications. Are there more humans who could undergo this transformation?" The elder was quiet for a long moment. "Perhaps. But our blood is not unlimited. Only 13 pure bloodlines remain in the galaxy. Each contains perhaps a dozen doses. So, you are talking about maybe 150 people total? If any more humans could survive the change, There is no guarantee. Marcus felt something strange in his mind, like voices calling from very far away. There are others, he said. I can feel them. Everyone turned to look at him. What do you mean? Elena asked. Other humans? They are in trouble. Xerion attack ships are hunting them near the Tau Ceti system. Admiral Rodriguez grabbed his communicator. Command, this is Rodriguez. Do we have any ships in the Tau Ceti system? Negative, Admiral. Our nearest patrol is 6 hours away. Marcus was already moving toward the door. I can be there in 2 hours. How? I will show you. They followed him to the observation deck. Through the clear walls, they could see Marcus's ship. Except it was not really his ship anymore. In the 3 days since his return, he had rebuilt it completely. It no longer looked like a human vessel. The hull was covered in organic-looking tubes and crystals that pulsed with purple light. What did you do to your ship? The Admiral asked. I improved it. Combined human engineering with sanguinary biotechnology. It is faster than anything the Xerions have. Elder Thane stared at the ship with something that might have been surprise. Impossible. It takes centuries to learn bioship cultivation. Marcus smiled. I learned it from the warriors I fought at Kepler Station. When I drained their life force, I also got some of their memories. You can absorb knowledge from your victims? Not victims, enemies. And yes, Dr. Vasquez was furiously taking notes. This is incredible. You are not just a human sanguinary hybrid. You are something completely new. The communicator crackled. Admiral Rodriguez, this is command. We are receiving a distress signal from the Tau Ceti system. Merchant vessel under attack by unknown forces. Marcus was already heading for the airlock. I told you. I can feel them dying. Wait, Admiral Rodriguez called. You cannot go alone. Why not? Because if something happens to you, humanity loses its only advantage in this war. Marcus stopped. What advantage? Elder Thane answered. You are proof that humans can become more than they were born to be, without losing what makes them human. Every other species that tried to transcend their origins either died or became monsters. The Xerions are already afraid of you, the Admiral added. Word is spreading through their empire. A human who cannot be killed, who grows stronger with every battle. Marcus thought about this. They should be afraid, but not of me. What do you mean? They should be afraid of what humans might become. All humans. He entered the airlock and sealed it behind him. Through the observation windows, they watched him cross the space between the station and his transformed ship. He moved through vacuum like he was swimming through water, completely at ease. His ship came alive when he touched it. The purple lights pulsed faster, and the organic sections writhed like living tissue. Elena had never seen anything so beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Elder Thane, she said, what has he become? The ancient vampire was quiet for a long moment. Something we never imagined possible. A perfect fusion of order and chaos. Vampire and human. Predator and protector. Is he still human? More human than before, I think. The blood did not change his nature. It enhanced it. Marcus's ship disappeared in a flash of purple light, moving faster than anything Elena had ever seen. The Admiral checked his instruments. Impossible, he said. He just jumped to faster than light speed without using the jump gates. Elder Thane smiled, showing fangs like broken glass. The galaxy will never be the same. Your species has just taken the first step towards something magnificent. Elena looked at her test results one more time. Somewhere in Marcus Chun's transformed DNA was the key to humanity's future. The question was whether they could unlock it before the Xerions found a way to destroy them all. In the distance, stars began to flicker as ships moved through hyperspace. The war was just beginning. Marcus felt the call in his blood as soon as he dropped out of hyperspace. 3 more humans had successfully bonded with Sanguinari blood, but they were scattered across different star systems. Sarah Kim, a marine sniper. David Okafor, an engineer. Lisa Zhang, a medic. All of them were learning to control their new abilities. But the Zephyrians were learning too. Emperor Kethvar stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the tactical display. Red dots showed where human settlements had been destroyed. Green dots marked sanguinary vault worlds that his forces had already found and sterilized. Only 5 vault worlds remained. "Show me the human again," the Emperor commanded. The holographic display shifted to show Marcus Chen fighting his way through a Zephyrian battlecruiser. The human moved like liquid death, tearing through armored soldiers with his bare hands. Each kill made him stronger. Each victory taught him new skills. He absorbed the memories of Commander Zek Tal, one of his advisors reported. Now he knows our ship layouts, our tactics, our weaknesses. Emperor Kethvar hissed through his breathing slits. "One human has killed more of our warriors than entire rebel fleets. This cannot continue. My lord, perhaps we should retreat. Consolidate our forces." The Emperor's claws extended. Retreat? From a single human? No. We will find the source of his power and destroy it. He turned to the navigation display. "Set course for Xerion Prime. If the humans want their vampire blood so badly, we will deny it to them." Marcus received the warning from Elder Thang while he was traveling between star systems. The message came through his ship's biocommunications array, a stream of pure thought and emotion. The Emperor comes for the last great vault. Xerion Prime holds the blood of the first makers. If it is destroyed, no more of your kind can be transformed. Marcus altered course immediately. Xerion Prime was 6 days away at maximum speed, but he had learned new tricks from the Zephyrian memories he carried. His ship began to pulse with energy patterns he had stolen from their fastest vessels. He arrived to find the planet under siege. The Zephyrian fleet was massive, hundreds of ships surrounding the ancient world. They were not trying to conquer it. They were trying to crack it open like an egg, but they were not alone. Ships from a dozen different species orbited nearby, keeping their distance, but watching. The galaxy had heard about the human transformations. Some species wanted to see humans destroyed before they became too powerful. Others hoped humanity would win and show them a new path forward. Marcus opened communication channels to all of them. "This is Marcus Chen. Any ship that wants to leave should do so now." The response came from the Zephyrian flagship. Emperor Kethvar himself appeared on the screen, his insect face twisted with rage. "Human abomination. You have killed my sons, destroyed my fleets. Today you die. Maybe. But I will take a lot of you with me." Marcus launched his ship straight at the center of the Zephyrian formation. Weapons fire filled space around him, but his hybrid vessel was too fast and too strange for their targeting systems. He had learned to fly by instinct rather than instruments, feeling the flow of gravity and energy like a swimmer feels water. He crashed through the hull of the first battlecruiser, his ship's bioarmor protecting him from the impact. Inside the vessel, he abandoned his ship and began to hunt. The corridors filled with screams as he moved from deck to deck, absorbing the life force of every enemy he found. But there were too many ships, too many enemies. Even with his enhanced abilities, Marcus could not fight an entire fleet alone. That was when the others arrived. Sarah Kim came first, her transformed sniper skills letting her pick off Zephyrian gunships from impossible distances. David Okafor followed, his ship bristling with human sanguinary hybrid technology that turned enemy weapons against themselves. Lisa Zhang brought a medical frigate that could heal damaged ships instantly. 4 human vampire hybrids against hundreds of alien warships. The smart move would have been to retreat and find another way, but humans had never been smart that way. The battle lasted 3 hours. Marcus led his transformed companions through the Xerion fleet like a pack of wolves through sheep. Each enemy they killed made them stronger. Each ship they destroyed taught them new ways to fight. Emperor Kethfer watched his fleet die around him and finally understood what he was facing. These humans were not just soldiers with enhanced abilities. They were evolution in action. Each battle made them more than they had been before. "Bring me to the planet's surface," he commanded. "If I cannot destroy them with ships, I will face their leader myself." Marcus felt the challenge like a physical blow. The Emperor was calling him out, demanding single combat. It was a trap, obviously, but it was also an opportunity. He landed on Xerion Prime near the entrance to the Great Vault. The planet was mostly desert, with ancient ruins scattered across the surface. But underneath, in vast underground chambers, the Sanguinari had stored the blood of their ancestors. Emperor Kethfer met him at the vault entrance. The alien ruler was massive, 3 meters tall, and covered in natural armor. His forearms held weapons that could cut through starship hull plating. "You have cost me an empire, human. My people will never forgive this defeat." Marcus drew his combat knife. It seemed pitiful compared to the Emperor's weapons, but it had served him well. "Then maybe your people need new leadership." They fought among the ancient stones while their fleets battled overhead. The Emperor was strong, fast, and experienced. He had conquered 100 worlds, defeated countless champions, but Marcus was something new. He flowed around the aliens' attacks like water, striking at weak points the Emperor did not know he had. When the aliens' weapons cut him, he healed instantly. When the Emperor tried to use his superior reach, Marcus got inside his guard. The turning point came when Marcus grabbed the Emperor's head with both hands. Instead of trying to break the alien's neck, he did something else. Something he had learned from the memories of Sanguinari elders. He drained the Emperor's knowledge directly from his living mind. The effect was overwhelming. Suddenly, Marcus knew everything about the Xerion Empire. Their military codes, their secret bases, their plans for exterminating humanity. But more than that, he understood why they were so afraid. The Xerions ruled through genetic purity. They had bred themselves into perfect killing machines over millions of years. Their society was based on the idea that some species were naturally superior to others. Humanity threatened that entire worldview. Humans could become anything they needed to become. They were chaos that could create order, weakness that could become strength. Marcus let the Emperor fall. The alien was still alive, but his mind was broken. He stared up at the desert sky with empty eyes. "Your empire is over," Marcus said. "Not because I killed you, but because you showed the galaxy the pure species can be defeated by adaptive ones." Around them, the sounds of battle were fading. The Xerion fleet was retreating, their morale broken by their Emperor's defeat. But other ships were arriving. Human ships, carrying volunteers who wanted to attempt the transformation. Sarah Kim's voice crackled over the communication system. "Marcus, we are reading massive energy signatures from the vault. Something is happening down there." Marcus looked toward the vault entrance. Deep underground, ancient systems were waking up. The Sanguinari had left more than just blood in their vaults. They had left instructions. He walked into the darkness, leaving the defeated Emperor behind. It was time to learn what the vampire race had really intended for their blood to become. The galaxy was about to change again. But this time, humans would be the ones leading that change. In the depths of the vault, purple light began to pulse. The real transformation was just beginning. 6 months after the Battle of Xerion Prime, Marcus stood before the reformed Galactic Council. The chamber looked different now. Where once there had been rigid seating arranged by species hierarchy, now there were mixed groups. Humans sat next to aliens who had once been enemies. Former slaves shared tables with their old masters. The change had not been easy. 3 species had tried to destroy Earth when they realized what humans were becoming. 2 more had attempted to steal sanguinary blood for themselves. All had failed, but not because of superior human firepower. They had failed because the galaxy itself was changing. Marcus looked out at the assembled delegates. There were 12 other human sanguinary hybrids now, each one unique. Sarah Kim had developed the ability to see across vast distances, watching for threats to human colonies. David Okafor could interface with any technology, human or alien. Lisa Zhang could heal injuries that should have been fatal, but they were still recognizably human. They still argued with each other, still made jokes, still cried at sad movies. The sanguinary blood had enhanced their humanity, not replaced it. The question before us today, Marcus said, is simple. Do we continue the old way of doing things, or do we try something new? Ambassador Veltar of the Hegemony rose to speak. His species had ruled 12 systems for 1,000 years through genetic superiority. The humans ask us to abandon everything that made the galaxy stable. They offer chaos instead of order. What we offer, said Dr. Elena Vasquez from her seat in the human delegation, is the possibility of growth. Every species here has reached their evolutionary limits. You have been the same for millions of years. And proud of it? Veltar replied. Stability is strength. Marcus smiled. Is it? The Xerions thought the same thing. How did that work out for them? The reminder silenced many of the delegates. The Xerion Empire had collapsed completely after their emperor's defeat. Not through conquest, but through rebellion. Species that had been enslaved for centuries suddenly saw that their masters were not as superior as they claimed. Elder Thane spoke from his place among the sanguinary delegation. My people tried your path once, Ambassador. We sought genetic perfection, absolute order. It nearly destroyed us. What do you mean? Asked Delegate Xerion of the Trade Federation. The ancient vampire stood, his black eyes reflecting the chamber's lights. 10 million years ago, we were the dominant species in this galaxy. We had perfect bodies, perfect minds, perfect society. But perfection is stagnation. We stopped growing, stopped learning, stopped dreaming. He gestured toward Marcus. When we created the blood ritual, it was not to make more sanguinary. It was to find a species that could succeed where we failed. A species that could evolve without losing its essential nature. You were looking for us? Marcus asked. We were looking for someone like you. We tested thousands of species over the millennia. All failed. Some became ghouls, some died, some lost their minds. But humans... Elder Thane smiled, showing his fangs. Humans remained human while becoming more. Ambassador Veltar's voice was sharp with suspicion. What exactly are you proposing? Dr. Vasquez stood up. We have been studying the transformation process. The sanguinary blood does not just change individuals. It changes how they relate to the universe itself. Marcus and the others can sense connections between things that we never noticed before. She activated a holographic display. It showed the galaxy as a web of energy, with bright lines connecting star systems, species, even individual planets. This is what they see now, she continued. The universe is not a collection of separate things competing for resources. It is a single living system where every part affects every other part. Marcus walked to the center of the chamber. The old way of thinking is that some species are better than others. The strong rule the weak, the pure dominate the mixed, the advanced control the primitive. But that is not how evolution actually works. He touched the holographic display and new patterns appeared. Evolution works through cooperation, symbiosis, different species, helping each other become more than they could be alone. Pretty words, said Voltaire. But how do we know your way will not lead to disaster? Because it already is not, replied Captain Sarah Kim, speaking from her position near the windows. Her enhanced sight let her monitor space around the council station in real time. 3 months ago, the Void Hunters attacked the Centauri colonies. In the old system, the local species would have called for help and waited for someone stronger to save them. She gestured toward the display. Instead, they worked together. The Centaurians provided their mining technology, the Andromedans contributed their defensive shields, and humans coordinated the response. They did not just survive the attack. They captured 3 Void Hunter ships and learned their technology. And now all 3 species are stronger than before, added David Okafor. Not because one conquered the others, but because they shared what they had. Elder Thane nodded approvingly. This is what we hoped for. Species learning from each other instead of destroying each other. But not everyone was convinced. Delegate Crix of the Purity Coalition stood up. The humans speak of cooperation, that they have changed the balance of power in the galaxy. What happens when they decide we are no longer useful? Marcus looked directly at him. The same thing that happens now when any species decides others are not useful. The difference is that we are not trying to make everyone the same. We want everyone to become the best version of themselves. And if we refuse, then you refuse. We will not force anyone to change. But you will not help those who choose the old ways either, Crix accused. Would you help someone who wanted to destroy you? Asked Lisa Jiang from her medical station. We offer partnership to anyone who wants it. But we will defend ourselves against anyone who tries to stop us from growing. The debate continued for hours. Some species wanted to join the new alliance immediately. Others demanded guarantees that humans would not try to transform them without permission. A few threatened to withdraw from the council entirely. In the end, they reached a compromise that satisfied no one completely but gave everyone something they could live with. The galaxy would be divided into zones. Species that wanted to continue the old ways could have their own territories, protected from outside interference. Species that wanted to try the new path could work together in mixed colonies and research stations. And humans would share their transformation process with anyone brave enough to attempt it, while respecting the choice of those who preferred to remain unchanged. Marcus knew it was not a perfect solution. There would still be conflicts, still be species that chose war over cooperation. But it was a start. As the council session ended, he walked to the observation deck. Through the transparent walls, he could see ships from dozens of different worlds. Some were leaving, carrying delegates who wanted no part of humanity's vision. Others were staying, their crews eager to learn about the transformation process. Elder Thane joined him at the window. Do you ever regret what you have become? Marcus thought about it. 6 months ago, he had been a dying human soldier with no hope for the future. Now he was something unprecedented in galactic history. A bridge between what species were and what they could become. No, he said finally. I am still Marcus Chun. Still the kid from Detroit who wanted to see the stars. I just see them more clearly now. And what do you see when you look at the future? Marcus smiled. In the distance, a human ship was docking with an alien research vessel. Their crews would work together, learn from each other, maybe create something neither species could have achieved alone. I see the galaxy growing up, he said. Finally. Elder Thane nodded. Then our sacrifice was worth it. We gave up our future so that others could have one. As they watched, more ships arrived. Volunteers from species that had never worked together before. Scientists, soldiers, artists, dreamers. All of them willing to risk everything for the chance to become something new. The transformation was spreading. not through conquest or force, but through choice. Species were learning that they did not have to stay trapped by their biology or their history, that they could evolve. Marcus felt the familiar pull in his blood. Somewhere in the galaxy, others were calling for help. New threats, new challenges, new opportunities to prove that cooperation was stronger than competition. He turned away from the window and headed for the docking bay. His ship was waiting, its biomechanical hull pulsing with eager energy. There was work to do. The galaxy was vast, full of species that had never heard of humans or sanguinari or the possibility of transformation. Some would be hostile, some would be afraid, but some would be ready to grow. And Marcus Chun, the dying human soldier who had drunk alien vampire blood, would be there to help them take their first steps toward becoming more than they ever imagined possible. The universe was no longer a place where the strong ruled the weak. It was a place where everyone could become strong, and that changed everything.